You know, we're all taught that giving to charity and volunteering are some of the best things a person can do. But what if that's just plain wrong? In this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty provocative argument that suggests our best intentions might actually be doing more harm than good. It's a challenging idea for sure. So let's get right into it. So let's just put the central question right out there. Is the act of doing good actually harmful? I mean, that's a confronting thought, isn't it? It really forces us to look past our own warm, fuzzy feelings and really examine what's happening on the ground. This is the core idea we're going to unpack. And to show you just how radical this perspective gets, take a look at this quote from the source material. The person who repeatedly volunteers for the disabled is on a path to become disabled themselves. Whoa. Okay, that's an intense statement, right? Now, the idea isn't that you'll literally become physically disabled. It's more about a spiritual or karmic consequence. That if you don't grasp the true nature of helping, you risk taking on the very problems you're trying to solve. And that leads to this completely different way of looking at volunteering. It's not just an act of simple kindness. According to this viewpoint, it's more like a course of study. Yeah, you heard that right. Every interaction is a lesson, and there are very real consequences if you fail to learn from it. And this brings us to this really fascinating concept called a study fee. The argument goes like this. When you volunteer, any money or goods you bring aren't a donation. They're a payment for the lesson you're about to receive from the person you think you're helping. And here's the kicker. If you pay that fee but you don't actually gain any wisdom from the experience, you've completely wasted your energy. And in this worldview, that waste comes with a kind of karmic penalty.
Okay, so if volunteering is a course of study, what happens when it goes wrong? Well, the argument is that our entire conventional model of charity is fundamentally broken. That it's a system that, instead of lifting people up, actually traps both the giver and the receiver in a really destructive cycle.
Just look at how this is framed. On one side, you've got the giver. By constantly just providing aid, they might actually be stopping the receiver from ever finding their own purpose or path. And on the other side, the receiver, who gets everything without having to contribute anything back, can get stuck in this endless loop of dependency. So where does that leave them? Well, it leads to this incredibly stark and powerful conclusion captured in the metaphor, accomplices in hell. The idea here is that both people are actually complicit in creating this dysfunctional system. The giver prevents growth, the receiver doesn't contribute, and together, they become partners in a cycle that ultimately hurts everybody. All right, so if the old model is so broken, what's the solution? The source material doesn't just criticize, it actually proposes a complete paradigm shift for social welfare. It's about moving away from simple handouts and toward a model that's all about research and prevention. And this solution is built around what's called the 30-70 rule. The idea is that only 30% of our resources should go to immediate direct aid. The food, the shelter, the things people need right this second. But the other 70%, the vast majority, that has to be invested in research. Research into the root causes of the problem so we can figure out how to stop it from happening to anyone else in the future. And this is where the whole idea gets really fascinating and maybe even brilliant. This new paradigm isn't just about changing how we give aid, it's about completely flipping the script on the role of the person who receives it. So this model suggests a huge, fundamental shift. An individual goes from being a passive recipient of charity to an active teacher, a kind of professor. All of a sudden, their life experience, their struggles, they're not just a tragedy anymore. They become a valuable data set, a crucial lesson for the rest of us. So what does this new job actually look like? Well, the professor's mission is to go out and teach. They share their story with companies, with community groups, explaining what led to their hardship and offering a real-world lesson on how to avoid it. See, this isn't charity anymore. It's a dignified, important form of intellectual work. And in return, the organizations they educate provide financial support. They are now contributing unique, incredible value to society.
So all of this builds up to a final, really powerful conclusion. We need to completely redefine what we even think a good deed is.
So here it is. This is the crucial takeaway. According to this perspective, a true good deed isn't just giving someone a fish. It's empowering them to become a fishing instructor. It's about recognizing the incredible wisdom that's hidden in their struggle and giving them a platform to share it. It's about creating a system that stops people from falling into the river in the first place. And that leaves us with a final question to really chew on. Is helping truly about easing someone's immediate suffering, or is it about empowering that person to prevent that exact same suffering in others? It's a challenging, maybe even uncomfortable perspective, but it's a fascinating new way to think about what it really truly means to help someone.